Hello everyone and welcome to another Dymocks podcast. We have a very special guest with us today, Markus Zusak, author of The Book Thief. Markus, how does it feel to have your best-selling novel turned into a movie?
That's pretty surreal, really, and you think it's never going to happen, even when you sign it up and everyone says, oh yeah, they'll sign it up, but they won't make it. So many films, or so many books get taken up to be made into a film and then they never get made. And so I didn't think it would happen, and then 7 years later I found out they were starting filming in Berlin, and you just go, oh, they meant it.
The number one question we asked, that we've asked our fans to ask you a question, the number one thing that came back was, how did you even think of having death as a narrator?
Yeah, usually your best ideas are just flukes, and I was writing with some kids at a school and I got them to write about colours. I gave them a first sentence which was, I've seen the colour of time on 3 occasions. You know, it's like the lamest sentence you could imagine to start something, and I got them to write and I wrote with them, and I wrote about 3 different colours. It was red, white and blue, and I realised I'd written about 3 deaths, and I'd written from death's point of view. And I thought, I might just put that in that book that I'm thinking about, that's set in Nazi Germany. And then I also had the idea of a girl stealing books in modern day Sydney, and I went, I'll just take that, put that in there. I've written 1 page of that. And there I had 2 of the main ingredients, for want of a better word, that really added up to what the book became.
So it's quite an organic kind of process and chance and...
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time it's not necessarily sitting and sweating to get ideas. I mean, I think that comes once you've got the idea, and the idea can just be a mistake, and it's knowing that actually wasn't a mistake. And sometimes your best thing is something you didn't mean to do. Mm-hmm. It's recognising that it actually has some sort of value and not scrapping it because you didn't preordain its existence. So sometimes it's always your best surprise is when you sit down to write, you do all this work, and then you write 1 image or sentence and you go, I really like that image, and you didn't know you were going to write that when you got out of bed that morning. And that's what's exciting about this job, for sure.
So it sounds like you've developed this writing process through teaching others. So you're a teacher. That was your background?
Well, yeah, I wanted to be a writer from the time I was about 16, and I did a Bachelor of Arts and a Diploma of Education, and I was a casual teacher, I was a fill-in teacher, and I always knew that wasn't exactly what I was going to be, because I wasn't really that good at telling people what to do.
Sounds like you were good at helping their imaginations.
I was getting, I think by the end, I did it for about 4 years, and by the end I was getting a bit better at it, and I was getting better at being able to pretend that I was angry at them rather than...
So it's the authority you had problems.
Oh yeah, I really did, but I really liked working with teenagers in the sense that often not much is expected of them, but as soon as you expect something from them and say, I think you can really do this, and I expect you to do a good job because I know you can, I could get some really good results out of them sometimes, and especially in their writing. And you're sort of amazed at the sort of things that they can produce. And so sometimes, like I would set a task, and this happens when I go into schools now, is I'll set them just a little task, and I'll write as well. And they'll write something, I'll write something, I'll say, yours is actually better than mine. And the point is, what it takes to be a writer is, it's not being good at the beginning, it's being good at the end. And you only get to that by spending the time and sitting there for those hours till you find that image or that moment that you go, that's what it is. And your best idea is never your first idea. It
sounds like panning for gold. I've got this really strong visual of like putting in the hard yards and then getting a nugget in the tray.
That's exactly right. And there's beauty in all that sand as well that you dig up, because that's what gets you there. So when you've got your finished book, and I think of it as there are just all these failed attempts and things you didn't get right, and all your workings and hundreds of those. That's underneath that makes that thing exist. And it's almost like if you, I guess, build a bridge or build a road or something, you fix everything underneath it first, and then you go over the top of it. And I
We're
guess that's what it's
very,
like.
very glad that you did that with the Book Thief, and I'm sure millions of people around the world are. It would be remiss of me as a bookseller, and I'm sure you're sick of this question, to ask you what you're working on at the moment.
Yeah, I'm working on a book, strangely enough, about a bridge builder. It's a boy named Clay who's building a bridge, and he wants this bridge to be perfect. And he's also building his life into the bridge, and so everything that happens to him, it's sort of like everything we do, we put a part of ourselves into. And so he's building this bridge, and it's made of him, so the book is called Bridge of Clay. And the idea is clay can be moulded into anything, but it needs fire to set it. So even though he's building this bridge made of stone and wood and arches and things like that, it's also got him in it. And the idea is when the river floods and the sun is coming up, there's all this fire in the water from that. And the question is, will he be able to walk along on top of that, or will he fall into the river? And it could be 500 or 600 pages till we get that answer. And the thing is, when you write a book, you think, oh, this is going to be the ending, and then you write it and you work on it and you spend the time with it, and you go, oh, that's not the ending, it's just a little bit to the left or to the right. And that's those little unexpected moments are what really excite you as a writer, and say, that's where I'm going, that's where I want to get to, and hopefully I'll get there soon.
Oh, Markus, we absolutely can't wait. Thank you for joining us today.
No, thanks, Sophie. It's a pleasure.